many of us have teenagers, and they are a blessing and sometimes not.
Yeah.
So we had lots of fun experience with our children getting their driver's licenses and subsequently getting into accidents and that type of thing. So what can you tell us about teenagers and driving and the insurance that attaches to them?
Well, first of all, they need to be good students. Okay,
Mm.
that a 3.0 makes a big difference on the premium. And people might say, well, why is that? I can only speculate as to why that is, but the numbers prove that a good student is a much lower risk than a non-good student. So beyond that, though, is that you really want to take your time with your teenager and let them know that it's not safe to tailgate, for instance. You have to reiterate, it's not safe to text and drive. And you see it all the time. You still see it all the time, people texting and driving.
I know.
And then, as far as other situations, making a left-hand turn, you want to make absolutely sure that it's clear before you make a left-hand turn. And I'll use a personal experience. There are 3 lanes going up Hawthorne Boulevard around Newton Street.
Mm-hmm.
And so 2 lanes stopped for me. I crossed, and the 3rd lane didn't stop and broadsided me. Well, that was my fault. I'm going across traffic. That was my fault. So that was a chargeable accident.
Yeah.
And so that can very easily happen where you have 3 lanes of traffic and you 2 lanes are letting you go, but the 3rd one is not. So there are a lot of situations where you have to be really careful.
So now what happens when the teenagers go off to college? So I hear that there's some kind of insurance where they can get partial insurance because they're not home all the time and they're not driving. Do you offer anything like that?
Well, there are a couple options, and yes, we do. We can exclude them for the period of time that they're away at school if they're not driving. Okay, just so people don't have to pay any premium for them for that period of time, and then we can reinstate them over the Christmas holidays and that sort of thing. So over summer we'll reinstate them, and then when they go off to school again, we can exclude them again during that time. So that's going to help a lot. If clients have teenagers and they're not with that sort of program, they're going to be overpaying by a lot. It's expensive.
Yeah.
There's also a program where if they're over 100 miles away at school without the car, then that's a cheaper premium. So that's a good option if they think that their college-bound son or daughter is going to drive it off. They're going to drive a friend's car, and if there's that possibility, you don't want to have them excluded because there could be a liability claim that would come back against this kid.
Yeah, that's true. So when they come home, let's say that they've been excluded, and now they come home and then they use the car to go grocery shopping. Would they be covered at that time or not?
They're only covered after they get in touch with our office, and we require it via email so that we can, date and set the time, an hour,
right? Document everything.
And then they say, they send us an email, say, please put, Joe back on the policy effective now, and then we have that time. So if there is an accident, like happens at 3:55, and at 4:10 they send us an email, we can say sorry.
Yeah,
but
I know.
if it's if they send us the email at 4:00 and the accident happens at 4:10, we're golden. We can go back to our adjuster and say, yeah, I know it happened fairly quickly, but here's the evidence.
That's really interesting. So just an email would be sufficient to be able to put the policy back in place or put the protection back in place.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Because I know that if you make a phone call and leave a message, that doesn't count. Right.
We don't like that.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's too difficult to prove.
The problem is, how do you prove it? You say, well, I left a message and I go back and forth. Email's pretty rock solid. So we like to be very cautious.
So thanks again for joining us. Clara Duran Reed with the Duran Reed Firm and Randy Karp with Karp Insurance Services. Have a great day.
Thank you, Clara.
Thank you, Randy.